Hi everybody, this is just a brief message just to give you a little bit of an update about the 457 visa changes. The 457 visa, as some of you may know, is the temporary sponsored visa that allows overseas employees to be sponsored by an Australian company to work with them. Now, there's been much debate about this visa and a lot in the media, and on the 1st of July there were many changes that took place and have created a bit of a shockwave throughout perhaps the migration community, and also of course amongst those applying and who will apply or who want to apply in the future. I just wanted to give a brief summary of what those changes are, both for the sponsoring employer and for the visa applicant. There's no doubt that this has become an even more complex process than it already was, and so it's very important for those of you who are actually thinking of applying for this visa to really seek professional advice before doing so. From the point of view of the sponsoring employer, some of the main changes are as follows. The sponsor is going to need to pay certain costs in the future associated with becoming a sponsor and not be able to pass those costs to the visa applicant. It's going to be important to not only meet the training benchmarks, in other words show that you've been training an Australian citizen or permanent resident, more than one, in your company, but to keep demonstrating that and to show this evidence if you go on to sponsor somebody else during the course of the sponsorship. Also, with respect to that sponsorship, when you apply for a new sponsorship agreement, as an employer, you will need to specify the number of people that you would be wishing to sponsor during the life of the agreement, which is normally 3 years, although now it will only be 12 months if you are a start-up company, and you'll have to justify why you would be wanting to sponsor those people. In that respect, you'll also have to show every time that you nominate a new occupation why you're doing that, why an Australian can't do it, which will come down to labour market testing and showing advertising over the last 3 to 6 months. So there's a lot of changes there. Let's just have another look. Fair Work inspectors will be monitoring compliance, any compliance issues within the company, so they will be able to see that companies are actually adhering to these new regulations and the existing regulations for that matter. Any employee who wants to sponsor somebody and then hire them out to another firm will no longer be able to do that. The other thing is, with the Employee Sanctions Bill, it's important as well for any employer to make sure that a visa holder with them, or an employee who is not a permanent resident or a citizen of Australia, does have a visa that allows them to work. Otherwise, they could be liable to pay extremely high fines, which I'm sure that any employer would not want to do. So that's really a little bit about the sponsor. Now, from the point of view of the visa applicant, just a few changes. There will be an English requirement for all visa applicants now who are not earning a minimum of 94,000 Australian dollars plus super per annum. In certain occupations, such as program administrators or specialist managers, not elsewhere classified, there will be a requirement for a skills assessment, which is a recognition of work experience and qualifications. Now, that is some cause for debate at the moment because it seems only to be in the policy and not in the regulations, in other words, in the immigration law. Now, so that's a matter we'll see. We'll have to see in practice how that actually works. Those essentially are the main changes. But there certainly will be a lot more focus on the visa applicant skill set. I have to say that a lot of the focus does seem to be on the majority of student visa holders and working holiday makers who have been applying for this visa in the past, and they're quite possibly in many ways the target of these changes. But the main focus and intent, it appears, is so that no Australians are disadvantaged by companies employing overseas employees. So that's just a little bit of a summary of the changes. I hope that's been helpful to you. I'll keep you posted on any further updates. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.